In today's video, we'll discuss the team lineups heading into round 4. So Port versus Melbourne game just went by. We'll cover that just quickly and then go through the team names. A few rookies to discuss and a few interesting ones here and there, so we'll get stuck into that. And yeah, discuss the Port versus Melbourne game. So Port, not great. They're in a bit of hurt at the moment. For them, Wines was injured or felt sick, went off at halftime. Boat keeps doing what he's doing at his age, pretty amazing. And then Butters, I haven't got the CBAs in front of me, but I feel like his CBAs were low and he didn't push up into the midfield. Yeah, one to keep an eye on Butters. I'm not trading him, but for some reason, I feel like he wasn't attacking the contest like he was in the first 2 weeks. So maybe he's carrying something. Maybe it's because Ken pulled him out of the midfield a bit more. I want to see the CBAs, but minor red flag for now. You would think he bounces back, but given that he got injured, I just think it's one to monitor for now. But yeah, I don't think he's worth trading at his price. He should be a premium. It's just something seemed off, and it might be if he keeps playing, maybe he should revert back to what he was in the preseason and the first 2 rounds. So just keep an eye on Butters for now. I didn't like what I saw, but yeah, he's no reason why he can't bounce back unless he's carrying something or something. So on the Melbourne side of things, so first the big guy, Max Gawn. I think a lot of people did trade him out. I think about 10% of people that had him. Or I think ownership was about 50% down to 40%, something like that. Looks like it was the wrong move. Yeah, I think it's hard to say because at the time people were trying to fund value picks, and Gawn was one of the gateways given his break even. I think over the course of time, I don't think it'll be too bad if you did trade him, given what, depending on what you got for him. But you got to remember this game. I posted this in Discord and they just all posted copium gifs in front of my head. But Port had an injured Lysette. It was rucking against Marshall a bit of the time, and Port moved the ball. They had no matchup for him in the air. So I'm going to sound salty, but look, I think Gawn against another team probably doesn't score like that, but he's still a star. His work rate was unbelievable, best on ground, and yeah, just a bit of a mismatch tonight. So yeah, it looks like it was a mistake trading Gawn, but you got to remember we did it for a reason, and yeah, trying to fund value elsewhere. So see how you go with your whoever you got at R2 if you don't have Gawn, but yeah, I think it's slight regret, but it's a long season, and we'll see what price he's at in a few weeks, and maybe we'll see Jackson takes more ruck time at some point. Maybe like tonight, Gawn will be large majority ruck. We'll see how that goes, but yeah, played phenomenal, and yeah, slight regret trading him, but it's a long season. Track's disposal was just atrocious, but he also got tagged, and then Clary was down for some reason. I don't know why. Where's Clary? Yeah, he scored, I think, 70 odd, something like that. So no explanation, no reason to panic. Don't really know why. Just maybe had an off game. So he started the quarters well, and then he didn't seem to do a whole lot. But yeah, thought I'd touch on that game. Bowie, a little disappointing. I think his break even will be 80 or so now. So he's one where you can keep holding for a bit, and he should hold price roughly, or offload if you wish. Yeah, he's made his 100k, so it wasn't obviously you didn't want him to score a 90 then a 50 or whatever it was, but he's made you a fair bit of money, and he scored 152 weeks ago. No reason why he can't bounce back. So see how he goes. Now Geelong versus Brisbane. In O'Connor out, Selwood managed, and Higgins out. In Fullerton for the Lions, Sharp and Oscar McInerney. So maybe Fullerton will take second ruck and Fort will be first ruck. Now Mark O'Connor, so this means that he has been brought in, most likely to tag Neil. Where's he listed? Mark O'Connor, halfback. So you would think that he's going to tag Neil. So I'd probably steer clear of vice captaining Neil. I mean, maybe he doesn't for whatever reason, but it's hard to see him not tagging Lachie Neil. So just have to cop that and wait for Neil to not get tagged and score big again. Other than that, I think nothing significant on this list here. Nope. And then looking at the Lions list, they keep putting Richard centre half back. I don't know why. Berry on a wing. Don't know what his role will be. Who knows? Yeah, it's in Geelong, so it'll be a tough game. Yeah, just Fullerton on the bench. So, yeah, move on, I think. Now, Sydney versus North. Now, this is a disappointing one because we'll get to it in a sec. So, in McInerney, Laddams, and Reed. Out, Ronk. Stevens omitted. That really blows. Amadi omitted. Hickey injured. And then North side, R2, Perez, and LDU in. Out, Bonner, Ford, Pollock. And Powell. TP's injured. That kind of sucks. So we get to Sydney. McInerney's in for Stevens. I think this was on the cards. I thought maybe they find a spot for him. Campbell might be the only player that could make way. I don't see anyone else making way potentially. So it looks like Stevens will be sub. He's named on the bench. Probably not best 22. I think hold. The only way I would be trading Stevens, there's no real reason to trade him unless you're looking for an avenue to Bruce via DPP. Going early on Bruce is a little risky, but I think it might be a bit of a points grab. And, you know, if Stevens, if he is sub, he could come on early, score a 60 or 70. He could come on late, you know, have a 20 and then another 10 or 20 in his cash, in his cycle, which would be really bad. So I still think, you know, his break evens too. I would be holding if you can. The only way I think he's expendable is if you need an avenue to Braden Bruce. So, look, he was capable. He had a good preseason, had a good game 1, good game 2. Third game was really, really bad. It was against the Dogs, hardest team to score against, arguably, in the midfield, along with probably Carlton at this point. Hopefully he comes back. It might take an injury, but yeah, it's going to be really tough to get back into this team. Yeah, it's really disappointing, really rough. I thought maybe he could get another chance, but plays North and West Coast next too. So just the timing was off. You know, if they play North last week, he probably holds his spot, but it is what it is. And then they're using Sam Reid forward when he's been playing back, I think, at training from what I've read. I thought he was a backup to McCartan or the McCartan brothers. So they got Logan in the twos. I think Logan kicked 4 or something. I don't understand this, especially in the wet. They're playing a lot of tools. Reed, Franklin, McLean in the wet. I don't understand. Interesting. That's enough on that. Lloyd on the bench. Lloyd is one to keep an eye on. I think he's needed to his hundreds that he scored or whatever he scored, 90 or 100. He's needed 10 kick-ins each game for that. Yeah, I think both opponents scored like 15 behind. So one to keep an eye on. He might not even get 105, but he looks pretty good still, so we'll see. McInerney, Blakey as well. Campbell might take kick-ins. Just keep an eye on what Lloyd's output is this game. Onto North Melbourne. Sort of the same defensive setup. I think they maybe could have tried to change something after the dismal effort last week, but it's probably more the midfield pressure. Put the defense under so much pressure. Looking through the list, Cherry first ruck. So Sydney give up a lot of points in the ruck. I think they give up the most along with Port. And they're missing Hickey as well. However, it is very wet. I don't really know how ruckmen score in the wet, to be honest. We'll see. But yeah, say Cherry, I meant. Coleman Jones been kept out the team, which is kind of nice. And then Perez is 150k rookie coming off 2 ACLs. See how he goes. Looking at Collingwood versus West Coast. In Cal Brown. In Tom Wilson. Out Degoe. Out Adams. Out Tyler Brown. So Adams and Degoe come straight back in next week. West Coast in Duggan Brass. Rioli. O'Neill. Out. Gaff is injured. Harry Edwards omitted. Petricelli out. Rotham out. SPS out. Man, they had another few injuries for them. That's really rough. So you look at this midfield, Langdon, West, Naish, followers, Luke Edwards, Jack Redden. Man, that is rough. They're missing like 4 or 5 starters in the midfield. So if you're a Crisp owner, a Lipinski owner, you would hope that they capitalise on this week. So we'll see how they go. So yeah, looking at Collingwood, Nick Dacos at halfback. I think he'll play all over the ground again. We'll see how he goes. Doesn't really matter though. I think he's played enough defense to get TPP down back in the first 2 rounds. Reefers, keep an eye on Reef for next week. And then over on Crisp on ball, over on West Coast side, Hoff's still playing, so I guess you can keep holding him. Hopefully he makes a bit more money. Dixon's been named with Waterman, Darling, and Kennedy over Bailey Williams. So yeah, I didn't like what I saw from Bailey Williams. I'm not sure he makes it as an AFL player. So Dixon keeps holding, so maybe this means that they keep running with this setup until Oscar Allen is back, and he's listed as 3 weeks. I don't think you have to bring in Dixon in. Probably not sure that's worth it. But he's competing well. He's doing a good job. I think he's had a good season so far, given lack of supply from West Coast. He's doing his best, so he's doing okay. I think he's done enough to hold his spot. I think he will for the next few weeks, but you never know. But I think he's better than Bailey Williams. Last week he was good, which is very important. Richmond versus the Dogs in Ben Miller. Okay, so he's 160k key defender from memory. He was taken a few drafts ago. Prestia in, Rewalt in, out Grimes, Soldo out, Ross out, Arts out. In Bailey Williams, Lewis Butler, Tim O'Brien. Okay, interesting. So, and out, Keith is injured, Wallace, Rock Smith, St. Cordy. Few changes for both teams. Gibcus keeps playing, which is good, so he hopefully tick along nicely. Not one that'll hurt you if you don't have it at all, but kind of nice that he has decent job security, it seems. Rioli halfback, he's been good. Hugo on the bench. And yeah, probably pretty weak midfield. Thompson Dowers was pretty good last week. 190k, really negative break even. Scored 100 with a lot of CBAs. Dogs are obviously pretty hard to score against, so not one I'm going to pick up, but looks pretty good. Might be a decent one that we missed because he came in late. And then the Bulldogs, here we go. McRae on a wing. So I know it's on the team sheets, but he was named on a wing last week. So I'm avoiding the captaincy of McRae this week. I think you could definitely VC him. For this week, I prefer Dunkley. But you never know. So, both have a high ceiling. So see how McRae at the G should go pretty well against Richmond. It's just how much time do they use him on a wing? They got the whole full squad. They got McRae, Hunter, Treloar, Bont, Baz is somewhere. Baz half forward. Yeah, they got everyone playing. So it's going to be hard for him to not play on a wing, I think, for a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. But I really hope they don't do that. Who else can play wing here? Bailey Smith, Bez. Maybe a defender can push up into a wing or something. I'm not sure. Yeah, a little bit frustrating, but not much we can do about it. Fremantle versus the GWS. Mundy in, Darcy in, out Banfield, out Tucker. Had a seizure on the field. I think had a bit of a head knock as well, so might have been because of that. Meek omitted, so that means it is Darcy time. So keep an eye on Darcy. Should be R1 for scoring, but total points most likely not. In Riccardi, out Kennedy, and Haynes is out. So playing another toll. Flynn, not playing Flynn. We'll get to GWS in a second, but looking at the defense, O'Driscoll named on field, which is pretty good. They have Sarong to come in next week. I think they said that, and then I don't know how long Tucker's out for. So yeah, I think O'Driscoll was okay. I think he's got a bit of work to do to maintain his spot. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he goes. So I'm not grabbing O'Driscoll. I'm not sure of his job security, to be honest. But the fact that he's named on field is quite good. So I'm passing on O'Driscoll, but it could be a decent one. I'm just not sure. And given it's early, I don't really have anyone to trade him to. I don't think Gibcus to O'Driscoll is worth it. But yeah, moving on. Brayshaw might cop the tag from Ash. Careful for that one, so keep the captain away from him. Brody on field, that's encouraging. I think he cemented his spot. If it wasn't already cemented last week, I think he did it. He did cement it by now. So yeah, keep playing him. See how he goes. Erasmus on the bench. Keep an eye on him for next week. He's scored really, really well in Colts. 160 average in Colts. So Yeah, one of the high scoring juniors last year. Meek emergency. So interesting to see that they dropped Meek for Darcy, not played both, because I thought Meek's very stiff, and Giants have a lot of tools, but they're just playing the one ruck. So looking at defense, I think Steen's a cheap rookie, or it might just be AFL Fantasy. I haven't really looked into it, so looks like not too sure. Ward named in the middle. I think he's been playing a bit behind the ball though. Ash is in there. Cogs half forward, Tim Taranto half forward. So they've been playing a fair bit forward, both of them, but still scoring well. Braden Pruce. Ideally, wait a week on Pruce. We know that he might get rested. We know that Flynn might come in, although I think they'll score well together, but Pruce has put a few games together. I think it's okay to grab some points this week if you don't want to field Hayes R2 to bring him in. It is risky though. I feel like it's not super necessary to bring him in this week, so I think you wait a week on Pruce. Given I'm fielding Hayes R2, who might be dropped, or Dixon, I think I might just go for Pruce. I think that was the plan. Part of the plan of me trading Gorn out was to, upgrade another line and bring in Pruce, and hopefully Pruce can get closer to Gorn than what a rookie in another line can get to what I got a premium to, if that makes sense. So, yeah, he's a scoring machine. He had like 20 contested in the VFL or something ridiculous like that. So he will score well. He just needs to stay fit, and that's always going to be a worry with him. And that's the reality of it. But I think the upside's worth the risk. It could blow up, but we're 1 week away from, 2 weeks away from Cherry being DPP and Dixon and Hayes fall back potentially. So I think it's okay. But yeah, we know the risks. And now Tom Green here. There was an article on Tom Green the other day saying that he believes he can dominate. And then all the stuff about the preseason, like he's been dominating, he's gone from a boy to a man, they said, over this preseason. I think it's real. So I've seen a few in the Discord are going for Tom Green, and I like it. After reading that article, because I'm a sucker for articles, I looked at my team, like, how can I get him in? Like, this is my team at the moment. I don't have an avenue to Tom Green. Like, how do I get him in? I can't do it. I'd have to give up Raul Lipinski, and I'm not willing to do that. Not going McRae or Miller down. I don't have an avenue, so yeah, I'm not using 2 trades to get him in. But look, his durability, I think he broke his arm last year or something. I'd have to double check that, and he had a hamstring issue, so and he's 500k. Look, he looks unbelievable, leading the league in, I think, top 5 in contested possessions. I think it's real. I think he's 115 plus. I think. Just because of his most gifted contested possession winner at juniors that we'd ever seen. So it's happening. Yeah, I like the play. I would go for it if you can. The more I thought about it, the more I read the article, I think it's real. But yeah, there are no guarantees, but I think it's more likely it works than it doesn't. And then on the bench, De Boer, maybe he helps #Brayshaw. And move on. I think we've been going a bit long. We'll try and wrap it up quicker. So in for Essendon Sunday teams, Waterman, BZT, Snelling in for the Crows. Haitley, he's probably extended bench. Worrell, extended bench again. Sloan and Taylor Walker. Looking at Essendon's team, Ridley named on field, which is kind of nice. They've been naming him on the bench for some reason. Nick Martin, happy to field him this week. Draper was poor last week, but he's still playing. Perkins half forward. Maybe we see him shift into the midfield because he looks like he might break out a bit, but just hasn't got the mid time. Where's Cordwell? On ball. So maybe Cordwell gets more CBAs this week. I don't think they used McGrath to tag last week. There's no one really to tag at the Crows. I mean, Dawson potentially. Oh, he could go to Dawson. Depends if they want to persist with him in that role. And looking at the Crows, literally nothing here. Walker's back, full forward. Crouch on the bench. Hinge on the bench. Don't worry, he'll play. Yeah, so I think Crouch, Murphy, Rowe, and Hinge play, and then the rest probably Cook sub, something like that. Cook or Pedler sub. Now, Hawthorn, also worth noting, Gollant on the field, on the bubble this week. I think he could be okay. I don't know if Thilthorpe. Well, I think Thilthorpe will get games soon, and Gollant had really low disposals, and we saw Gorn this week against undersized. Even Tom McDonald as well. Port very undersized, kind of helped Collins. So yeah, look, he's a third tall in a rebuilding team. He's not going to score a whole lot, so I think he's a rookie you can pass on. But yeah, he's played well so far. Not high, not going to win enough disposals. Hawthorn, Jekka, Cozzy, Impey, Phillips. Interesting. Impey's back. Named on the bench. He was really good last year off halfback. Connolly, Winhanger. So Winhanger will debut. Named on the field. 117k taken in the draft. Had big numbers in the VFL a week before. Burnsheim also in. So one we'll get a look at in 2 weeks. I don't think his junior numbers were super high. So one I definitely wouldn't go early on, and give it 2 weeks to assess him. Higgins out injured. Oh yeah, Wingard's also out injured. So Impey, Day, CJ all playing with Sicily. So they're playing Sicily a lot of key position, despite the fact they're playing Frost and DBJ. So he's kind of doing both. He's kind of hunting the footy as well, but and rebounding, but he's also playing key position. So I think we're going to see a down game from Sicily, but I think a big game is also coming. So it's just the nature of his role. In the midfield, Ward keeps playing. So slowly building. CBAs went up last week. Where's Tom Mitchell? Named on ball. Not getting a whole lot of on ball time. I think it looks like Tom Mitchell will get forward status. I don't think he's even a top 6 forward. He's averaging 80, but the role is just not great, and there's still question marks over the groin injury that he had leading into round 1. So I wouldn't touch Mitchell for the time being, even if he's forward. Just wait for the bounce back, put a few games together, maybe higher CBAs, but they don't want to use him as a full-time mid. They just don't. So, and it's working for them, so fair enough. And you keep an eye on where Impey plays, see how that affects that defense. And then the Saints, defense, whatever, midfield, Wangini Miller and Winghanger on the wing. So very young wingman. Crouch has been playing pretty well. Saints have been playing well this year. Ryder full forward, Rowan's playing. Rowan's been a little off, so I think you jump ship on Rowan just because the break even and the CBAs, there's every chance he bounces back, but what if they give him bad CBAs again? You don't really want him to get 30 CBAs. He's not going to be a top 2 ruck if that happens. And then Hayes on the bench. So I'm trying to figure out, I think Patton plays. I think Wood would be very stiff, so I think Wood plays. I think Butler plays. I think McKenzie plays. I think Hayes is in trouble here. He could be sub. Maybe it's Burns. Maybe it's Connolly. Yeah, I'm not sold that he plays. Ryder had said during the week that he thinks that all 3 can play. He said, I'd play with all 3 all year. Hayes was... I think they should keep playing Hayes. It's just how they fit him in. It'll be interesting. I guess we'll just wait till tomorrow to see who's named. And then looking at the Suns, so Stewie Jew said they are going to reward some VFL form. So I think Sitsas and Constable had a really big game, so thought maybe they come in. They have not. Roses had a pretty big game, so he's coming in. Farah and Rankin also in. And for Carlton, Sard is in. Just quickly, I don't mind Sard in fantasy. He's at 600k, I think, and he's scored quite well in the first 2 games. And he was playing through knee issues, so just a sneaky pod. Probably not for Supercoach. Doesn't have the ceiling to be top 6 defender, but one I've kind of considered for the other format, but yeah, it's just an interesting one. Not necessary to go for. Nunes, Fogarty, and Dow in. So Dow had a big game in the VFL. Is he named on field? No. So not sure he actually plays. It's going to be impossible to dislodge the 5 Carlton mids. So yeah, I don't know how he's going to get a game, but because if he does, he'll be the 6th player. So see how that goes. Gold Coast list is whatever. Carlton don't really tag. Hewitt can do defensive stuff here and there, but not hard tag. I don't think they'll do that. On the bench, it's whatever. Carlton, Doc's been unreal, so I think Doherty's real. It's just, you just wonder with the, he's been uber primo back in the day, and he was looking that way off the ACL a few years ago, but he did slow down. And then last year he was scoring really, really well in the first half, and then they moved him to a wing, and his scoring plummeted. And I don't think he played out the season from memory. So he's back in his role. They had no Sard next week, so I think there's every chance. I would say 105 minimum from Doherty. So I think he's a great target if you want to go for it. I think Lloyd and Stewart coming down a little bit, mainly Lloyd, but I think Doherty's a great pick if you want to go for it. Cripps is in there, Walsh is on a wing, so I think Cripps, so Walsh and Cher probably rotate a bit on a wing again. No Durden, that's right. So yeah, no Durden this week, so he's probably our dedicated loop. Hewitt on the bench, whatever. Boyd's probably out for Sard, and then whatever on the bench. I think they use Jack Martin as a sub. So that's the lineups. Yeah, so hopefully that helped for your week, and yeah, let me know what you're thinking. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys soon.